Oh yeah. Oh,
Right, man.
here it is.
What's going on?
Man, nothing. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Oh,
Celebrating Oktoberfest.
dang, I'm right. That's how you do it, man.
It's just too daggum good not to.
That is wonderful stuff, man. I came relatively close. I don't remember what I was doing in Walmart, but I was in Walmart the other day,
Mhm.
and man, they sell Breckenridge Vanilla Porter in Walmart now, and I'm like, right on, because I
Can't
love
go
this.
wrong with
I
that.
didn't buy any because I'm trying to watch my. Here's the thing about carbohydrates,
I, I can either have this or ice cream.
Yeah,
Most
I
nights.
understand, man. That's my thing about carbohydrates in particular and like calories and stuff. I'm trying to be careful. I'm working on something right now, and my thing, as far as carbs are concerned, here's the deal. If I could wake up tomorrow and look like Finn Balor, I would love that, but I'm not going to do what that takes because that guy doesn't know what carbs are, and
Mhm.
I like pasta too much for that. It's just, and that's okay. I think as long as you're honest with yourself about that stuff, I think
Mhm.
that's totally good. Can't,
I like Mr. Carbo.
dude, that's my thing. Can't whine about not being skinny tiny and eat carbs. So I choose the carbs. I
Yeah.
love them. I love pasta's my favorite thing. I just
I've
can't.
come to terms with it. I don't know why y'all are all so bitching about it.
It's all gravy. It's all fine and dandy. But
Mhm.
anyway, I don't know what the heck I was going to say. Don't matter though, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's something I was going to say, man, before we get going, man. I really appreciate the patience on this, man, and all y'all. Thank you for coming back because I was in Cincinnati when we were the last time we were going to get together and do this, and I'm sorry for not telling you what was up, but there was a toy show that we went up for, and
Oh, hell yeah.
it was dope. I love Ohio anyway. You know, I got family in Columbus. I go up there all the time. And I go through Cincinnati all the time, but I've never really spent time there. And it's not that we spent a ton of time in the city proper, but we spent enough time to where it was awesome. It was all. I had a great time, man.
Sweet.
Yes, and eat for the love of God, eat because La Rosa's is the Italian place that I've been told about for literal years, and they sell these things. Everything was good. I didn't have anything, but I mean, just the most basic salad they bring to you is amazing. So all of it is incredible. But holy crap, they got these things called rondos, man. That basically, to me, seem like pinwheel miniature calzones is probably the best way to describe them. And again, I'd heard about these things forever. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Thank God it's a sit down restaurant because I'd have fallen on my ass if I was. They were so good, dude. It's
Awesome.
ridiculous. And then I had to do the head to head. Um, Scott, I've gotten off on this thing, but I'll finish up and then I promise we'll get back to the show. I had to do head to head Skyline versus Gold Star.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I love me some chili, and I've already discussed how I feel about pasta. So if you give me a plate of spaghetti with chili instead of spaghetti sauce, this sounds good to me. I'm in.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Gold Star has amazing vegetarian chili. So if you're watching the show and that's your thing, oh boy, you can't go wrong. It's amazing. I thought both of them were excellent. I genuinely, well and truly loved both of them. But here's the difference between the two. If you want to eat your plate of spaghetti with chili and 10 tons of cheese on top of it at a diner, go to Gold Star. And if you want to do it at a restaurant, go to Skyline. That's really the biggest difference is like the interior of the restaurants, man. That's about it. I mean, they taste
Yeah.
different, but they're both real good, man. So
Mhm.
can't recommend it enough. And the last food thing, and then I'll leave it be. I have finally succumbed to the dark side, and I hate to admit it because I give this guy crap about a lot of stuff. But on the White Castle versus Crystal conversation, I think
Yeah.
Cornette's actually right. I think the
All
White
right.
Castles are better, and it's so stupid. But you know, my biggest problem is Crystal's Chattanooga restaurant. I want to pull for them. I want them to be the winner,
Mhm.
especially when you consider, jerk that I am, I thought White Castle was a carpetbagger from Illinois. I had absolutely no idea. That's a Nashville company. I had no clue. I'd
I
lost
wouldn't have
that.
thought. I wouldn't have known that.
I'd have lost that bet bad, like real bad. I was like 3 states away, man.
Do you
But
mean
whenever
Nashville?
yes, and now apparently they have changed their ways, and they keep packets of mustard in the restaurant because I need mustard on my sliders. But anyway, it was awesome. Basically all I did was go up and sell toys and eat food. It was awesome.
That sounds like a dang old good time to be had.
It was fantastic. I'm ready to go back already, man.
Heck yeah, man. I've always heard some of the stories about toy shows in that area of the country because that's where a lot of Kenner
Yeah,
reps
buddy.
retired and worked, and
Yeah.
just anytime you mention Kenner, I'm like, I'm interested. So
Absolutely, man.
I'll be down. I would be down for that. Just nothing else. Just I bought and sold the Kenner Superpowers collection so many times that I'm now back on the kick of putting it back together. But my problem is a lot of the ones I need are the ones from the later series, which is not good
Yeah.
for you if you've priced that later series these days. And when I think at the prices I've sold those for in the past, I'm like, dang it.
Give your Steve Carell moment.
Yep. Yeah, man. So that stings. It does sting.
I'm sorry. I said Carell. That was Stephen Colbert. Sorry. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very bad about that. Like I mentally, the mental image is correct, but I say the names wrong all the time. And I'm much more of a Steve Carell fan than I am a Stephen Colbert fan. But I love that, so I definitely want to make sure he gets proper credit for it
Heck yeah,
because
man.
I love it.
I got the gist of it. Because
You knew what I was talking about.
man, I'm there for the strangers with candy references.
Absolutely.
Man, I guess the one big thing that everybody's talking about is the Squid Game stuff, and I don't know a freaking thing about it. So, spoil it for me.
Here's the thing about Squid Game. There are elements of it that are really enjoyable. There are parts of it that were cool. There's one particular like thematic, I guess that's the word I'm looking for, element that I love, and I'll get to that. But I'm gonna.
I hate how it's one of those things that I haven't seen myself, but I feel like I have.
Oh
With as much as
God,
I've heard about it.
it is the latest. We talk about this. I think we've talked about it on here before, man, where there are two very distinct types of phenomena on Netflix. There are the Netflix originals that they promote and push and get behind and want you to know about and want you to think you have to watch and they want you to know.
Yeah.
Queen's Gambit, Bird Box. I mean, it's the stuff that they promote the bejesus out of. And it works and it gets a lot of people to sign up and that's cool. I haven't seen either of those, but that's all right. Then there are the Netflix originals where social media takes care of it for them. I mean, like genuine wildfire stuff. I think Tiger King was like that, and I think that Squid Game is like that, where it's just people just caught on and decided, yes, this is the cool thing. We got to watch it, and it's definitely worth your time. I mean, it was interesting. There are certain things in it that I really like. My favorite thing, lots of Hunger Games references, and I get that. I myself, much like I did with the Hunger Games, thought of the Running Man.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing I thought about um, the Squid Game is that, first of all, they do not pull any punches whatsoever on who the bad guy is, and the bad guy is bloated. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Capitalism. I mean, they will point blank tell you that because basically what you're doing is instead of taking criminals like in The Running Man, or I thought this was the thing with like Hunger Games. Oh, it's the big old oppressive government who beat down the little Confederacy, and now they're making them offer their children as tribute. And oh man, those little big brothers watching, and it is not pretty. That's not what's going on here. What's going on here is they've gathered a whole lot of people that have run up astronomical debt, and they're giving them a chance to get out from underneath it. So basically, when it says, yeah, you come here and you can work off your debt, you're probably going to die. You're most assuredly, if you don't die, going to have to kill somebody. but you guys can leave anytime you want to. And then they voluntarily all, or majority, 85% or whatever, voluntarily come back. That was the most fascinating element of the story. You come and go on that pretty quick. And as far as, oh man, these sadistic games, they just like Japanese game shows. But I guess my problem was, I mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it now. In general, it's cool. The ending of it I thought was really weak, and but that's okay because some things like we talked about it with what the heck was it called? Edge of Tomorrow. The first three quarters of Edge of Tomorrow is so perfect. You can't end it. The fact that it's not still running means it's disappointing because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And this was cool. It was just that eventually violence for the sake of violence, eventually it just doesn't work anymore, I don't think. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that Julie, our friend Julie, ruined me on all violence for the sake of violence with the anime series Elfen Lied. And the reason it ruined me for that is because Elfen Lied, in my opinion, and I might have gotten it wrong, but what I got from Elfen Lied when I watched it is that from the very beginning, and over and over and over again from the very beginning, you are absolutely pile driven into a vat of just violence, 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 just over and over and over again. It's extreme and it's incredible. And it's like they're oversaturating you. And it's so, for me anyway, that when you get to, I'm sorry I forgot everybody's names because I haven't seen it in a long time, but you eventually get to this big Dukaroo. It's not the end of the series, but it's right there in the middle between our main character, who was a lab rat basically, and then the fighter schoolgirl who's supposed to kill her. And when it comes time for them to knock each other out, it's more of the same: blood and gore and viscera and violence, just over the top crazy stuff, and you don't really notice. But what you do notice is when the fight is over and our good girl has won, which makes us happy. But then I mentioned the other girl, like the schoolgirl thing. She is a little kid. I mean, this like this weapon in the body of this like 8-year-old. She's a kid, man, and her like arms are missing, and she's basically bleeding out and just been reduced to scraps. And the general character, who's supposed to be her father, basically just turns his back on her and leaves her. And that's the part that is crushing, because the violence has been, you've been so desensitized to it, that when they decide to do something as emotional as this child being rejected by its father figure, oh man, it hurts so bad. And it never even occurred to me that that's what they were doing, but I think that's what they were doing. It was like, no man, just pile on the violence so people just get used to it, then we're really going to hurt you. And boy, it worked. But because of that, when I see other things that fail to do that, which is pretty much everything, I'm just like, well, it's not as good as Elfen Lied. But I do that all the time, man. And that's what happened to me with Squid Game. And they tried. They tried really hard, especially with the marbles episode. And I don't remember the girl character's name or number. I can't remember. 212, I think. No, I don't remember. I don't remember. But anyway, the girl that everyone is like losing their shit in love with because she's a fashion model, has been for a long time. It's all fine, but they tried with that story and it worked. But the problem is they yanked the other girl character out of nowhere. And they did really good considering you don't know anything about this character. But I don't know. And like I said, the last episode I just thought wasn't very good at all. The end of the series, it's fine. It's cool. I'm glad people are into it. And I love the organic Netflix. Holy crap, are you watching fill in the blank? So I'm glad they got him one. I think that's awesome. But I guess basically what I mean is, if you ain't feeling it, don't worry about it. It's not like, no, I think you would dig this because if it appeals to you, that's cool. And if not, it wasn't. I want to say it wasn't special. It's fine. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm talking way too much about it. I didn't love it. I think I can understand why people do. But again, my favorite part was the added element of like, no, this is not some tyrannical government. It's not even big bad corporations that you owe money to and they're making you. It's not that at all. It's like, hey, you want to make some money? Okay, you're probably going to die, but you won't be in debt. It's like, it totally makes sense, man. As far as everybody coming back, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. It's cool.
Yeah. That is part of the story that I did hear about in a review that the people that leave, it's like, well, maybe my life was that bad. Maybe I do need to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
thought they did a very good job of very realistically portraying that, it's basically if you're in here, the you're a lot closer to dying in here. You're still gonna die out there. It's just a weird way to say it, but it just seems like I don't know. I thought it was that part was supremely well done, and again, for the most part, most of it's pretty
at
cool.
least in here you have a slim chance.
Oh yeah, you're never paying that debt off out there. This is it.
Yeah,
This is all
yeah,
you can do, man.
yeah. So, man, I've been out of the loop with anything on Netflix, even going back to Tiger King, just because pretty much my MO is I'll turn Netflix on when there's a new season of Stranger Things, and that keeps getting delayed. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll turn it on to check that out, but I haven't been motivated enough to do it yet, but I might get around to doing that.
They're gonna have to either what if Stranger Things or have like
Yeah,
Stranger Things graduate school. Because I mean,
yeah.
all those kids got to be 30 now, man. So it's like,
Not getting any younger.
yeah, dude. It's like, oh.
But speaking of what if, I did complete that. So, and that was the other thing that I came up in the conversation I was having with somebody. Uh, when it comes to anime, and there's so many of them that just going back to what was popular when I was in when first got introduced to anime, and it's none of it ever really grabbed me. And I just like, man, there's just something about this stuff that I'm not getting. That's I feel like I'm missing something. And I thought, and I always thought, well, maybe it's just I don't. It's the animated part of it. But then a show like What If comes out and it's animated, like, no, it's not that, because there is some animated stuff out there that I can get down with and get behind. But the episodes, since we last talked, that dropped was the What If Thor were an only child, which was kind of I don't want to call it a dud episode just because I really enjoyed it, but it's pretty much there's so many things that in this What If series, it's like, what if this happened? Things will pretty much go the exact same way as it did the first time around.
You seen it, you saw it.
Yeah, you remember liking it? Good.
It was all black.
So it's what if Thor was an only child, which makes him pretty much the exact same character, just now Loki's a frost giant when he shows up. So everybody else is still there. Doesn't mean Loki doesn't exist. Don't worry about that. But it's still fun to watch, and it's still neat because he still meets Jane, and he gets his freaking science tattoo on his arm, which I want a figure of, and she gets her magic tattoo. So I gotta have that. I gotta have it. But in essence, it's pretty much everything kind of plays out the same way. But the series ends in a two-parter, which I kind of felt they were going to try to tie a lot of these episodes together, and boy, did they, with the series finale, because the episode comes out, what if Ultron won, which is basically we're going to make Vision the bad guy, which I'm like, cool, be careful, because that's going to be pretty powerful. But sure enough, that's the way that they tie all of these episodes together into one thing, and it's really done in a neat way, and I enjoyed it and dug that a lot. And it it was way too much to try to wrap up all in one episode, so it becomes the two-parter, which is the last episode is what if the Watcher broke his oath, which was kind of an interesting thing, and it happens in the next to last episode where you have the Watcher who's been the narrator this whole season, and I haven't done my research to see because I don't care, but it was one of the things that happens in this series where it's like I wanted to go back and see, has this ever happened before where somebody actually touches the watcher? And to say touch means has anybody showed up and beat the living shit out of the watcher, which is what Vision decides to do. And it's like, well, that's a pretty interesting idea, you know. If we, it's been so many times after some of these episodes with the endings just feel kind of like we didn't have anything, but you know, when you realize that we're saving it for the end of the series, and so I dug it and got a big kick out of it, and it's definitely worth a look at. It's, you know, not one of those things where I said, "Oh man, this is just reboot of the MCU, and it's going to be great going forward." I don't have that confidence, but it's not bad. It's still tons of fun, and you know, worth a look at. But I had a lot of fun checking that out.
I can dig it. That's awesome, man. I've only heard just a couple of things. Like most of the what if spoilers have actually been really good. They're like so inside baseball, I don't know what they're talking about, which is great because, like, man, that's not a spoiler. Then that's just a nice joke between all y'all that are watching it. And I'm like, wow, y'all really handled this well. This is cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was hella good. I dug it a lot.
I can dig it, man. It was something else. I know we were talking about. I was showing the man I had to buy DVDs of Fleabag because I wasn't going to keep Amazon on, and I had to have it. So I got it, and it's great, and I love it, and I just keep watching it over and over again. I'm obsessed with it because I do that. You know, the man can tell you that just when I get on something that I really really like, I will burn it up. I love it. It's my favorite thing. But it does seem like there was something else that I was going to mention, and I can't recall what the heck it was, man. And that's frustrating, man. I know it, but we talked about Squid Game. It wasn't that. It seemed like it was something else I really liked, which seems cruddy. I'm not trying to diss it. It's just that, like I said, if it looks like your thing, check it out. And there was some cool stuff in it, but in general, it's just not really my thing. Yeah, violence for the sake of violence, and just I don't know, man. Just like existential hopelessness. It's kind of like I don't know where you've been living the last handful of years, but I don't know. I had that conversation with people during like Game of Thrones when this was a long time ago. This was like the Ramsay Bolton stuff, and nobody was a Ramsay Bolton fan. But the conversation we had was about, well, I like the bad guy. I like every now and again when you see the bad guy win. And I'm like, if you want to see the bad guy win, turn fucking C-SPAN on.
Yeah.
They do it all the time. It's like, dude, the bad guys win all the time. There's a reason that fantasy stories usually have the good guy and the princess getting married because that shit does not happen in real life. It's okay.
It's Hollywood creation.
I like my fake shit. That's why. It's like you're not going to get this in real life, man. So let me have this. It's all good. I'm sorry. I'm like completely forgetting what I was supposed to talk about. I'm going back through Arrested Development, like I mentioned to you, and that show was awesome. Season 4 of that is really, really quite interesting what they wound up doing because, excuse me, where the first 3 seasons there were tons of like running jokes and you'd refer back and stuff like that. But the way that like I don't want to say time lapse, but the simultaneous event, it's hard, really, really. I'm not doing a good job of explaining it because I don't know how to exactly explain what they did, but it's impressive. I love that stupid show, and it's fun too because oh, what the heck's her name, man? Hot Rod's girlfriend, Isla Fisher. Isla Fisher's in it, and Isla Fisher is playing Rod Howard's illegitimate daughter, and I love her anyway, but she's got. Dude, didn't mean to hit that shelf. Sorry about that. She's got really good taste in the crap she decides to do between Hot Rod and that. I'm like, go on, you.
Heck yeah, man. That's good stuff. Man, the series hasn't wrapped up yet, but I've caught up on the last couple of episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, and it's just really, to me, Uh, and been kind of some duds because it, I checked out the Chris Canyon, the double lives or Chris Canyon or whatever they titled it, and really was expecting to like it a lot more than I did. That there was definitely some down stuff. He was not a happy dude. It's not okay to call somebody crazy anymore, but definitely had mental stuff going on, and didn't get the help he needed. But it was you know, he got all this credit for being so innovative when it came to his move set and doing all the stuff he did, and I just don't see it the same way that a lot of people do. Even though I liked him, I just think that's kind of like we like this, we like Chris, and we want to find a reason to remember him fondly. And this is what we're going to say about him is that he was just so innovative and did all this stuff that no one had ever done. It's like, God, I didn't see anything that wasn't. And maybe that's just I was getting so used to seeing it. If I because it's hard for me to be able to go back and watch it with a fresh perspective, just because there's so much of the stuff that I didn't recall. Uh, I didn't the I didn't know the Mortis stuff. I basically knew the Chris Canyon from Ready to Rumble era WCW into uh, even his stuff in the WWE. I didn't remember any of it when they brought him in to straight up bury his ass. Is what it felt like. So I didn't remember any of that. And the thing that I knew about him and remembered was he came out kind of late in his career. I was like, fine, great. Then the next thing you knew, he was gone. Uh, and that's pretty much the long and short of what I knew about him.
About all I remember about Chris Canyon, and this is when they said they were doing the episode about him, was Who Betta. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
remember. It was just like I don't know anything about that dude. I haven't seen that episode. I haven't seen lots of episodes, man. I didn't see the um I didn't see poor Tommy Dreamer ending his fucking career. I heard about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but I didn't see it. And it's interesting because that whole thing was like it's like we talked earlier about Netflix, man. You know, when you push, 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 it just seems to me that all that fallout over, oh my God, are we canceling Ric Flair? Give it 72 hours and nobody cared. 3 days later, nobody cared, man. It's like, no, they won't cancel Rick because too many people love him because that's all this shit is about. The guys on Dark Side of the Ring pushed the Flair thing because it's name recognition and they knew you'd get everyone to talk. But if you think everyone's going to line up on your side, you're wrong. It's ridiculous, man. But it's
Yeah.
it whatever, man. I didn't see it. Like I said, I did see Terry Runnels quote, and I'll stand by what I said the first time, man. It's very very different having a lady say, if I pursued um what's the word I'm looking for, man? If I was litigious and pursued court cases against anyone that ever did this, did that, did the other to me in my career, I'd never leave court.
Yeah.
A woman saying that, and Tommy Dreamer being like, well, maybe they shouldn't have taken the money if it's that big of a. It's different. It's
Yeah.
different. The man woman thing is very very different here, and even in my opinion, more to the point. The problem I have with what Tommy said is simply this: when you are offered money by a corporation, it's literally the only recourse you have. Because if you decide to go to court, guess what they're going to do? They're going to bankrupt your ass. That's how corporations get away with everything, man. It's the reason that their law department is 47 lawyers deep. That's the point. Corporations don't go to court. They don't get off because they're innocent. They get off because the plaintiff runs out of money.
Mhm.
That's exactly the point. That's the case. That's entirely the point. So I don't know, man. Just whatever. Tommy Dreamer's a dickhead anyway, man. So, but nobody cares about him. But anyway, but I'm with you. I thought it was kind of cruddy that people try to throw Terry under the bus too, and I'm like, it's different. It's totally different, man. That's her call. And also, I guess my thing was, it didn't seem to me what he's saying is a direct, well, shouldn't have taken the money then, honey. And that's not what I got from her. It was cut that way. It was cut to make it seem like she was dissing the lady that took the cash, but I'm not sure that's the case. This is what you have to do with anybody in news, anybody presenting anything now is be like, where are you coming from though? Who's asking that question?
Another thing that helps Terry's story is that comment that she makes comes not just a couple of minutes after her telling the story of basically on that tour, Brock exposing himself to her.
Yeah, man.
And she goes to Dustin. It's like, what do I do? And he does that thing of what a lot of guys said: don't sell it, and it'll go away. And so her telling that story makes it a lot easier to take, as far as her opinion. Which at the time, I was like most people. I was like, whoa. I was like, I didn't at the time I didn't understand the backlash against Tommy Dreamer, and he's like, why is everybody mad at me? I'm not the... But he's the stuff he said is kind of, you don't have a right to say that.
I agree. Like I said, the biggest difference for me is that her comment was positioned to seem like she was taking a shot at old lady. I don't know if she was or not, but I guarantee you Tommy Dreamer was, and it's like, that's what you're in trouble for, cocksucker. And it's so messed up. Well, it's just cancel culture, and they just want to go after Tommy Dreamer. I'm doing Sarah Shockey's Charlotte voice. I love when she does. Oh, really, Marty? I absolutely love when she does that voice, man. It's probably not even in my top 5 of things that she does that I like, but anytime she busts out Charlotte, I find myself cackling. Sarah Shockey's Charlotte Flair is like the what's up with that of their show. And that, man, if you asked me to name my favorite SNL skits, I don't think it would occur to me to put what's up with that on there. And it should 100% be there, because what's up with that is the same joke 4 times every time. And I laugh every single time, no matter how many times I've seen it. I love it. So that shit makes me happy. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Sorry, man. But for me, that was the difference between what she said and what he said. Is like, I didn't take her comment personally. Tommy's was. It's not an interpretation thing. It's not a how you. He was point blank talking about that lady, and he's a fucking dick. And I get it. He love Ric Flair. That's great. You can love Rick all you fucking want to. You're a dick, and you're wrong in this. And he's Tommy Dreamer. Who fucking cares? Who gives a shit? It's like, oh, what did I see, man? Oh, crap. It was somebody, shit, I don't remember what it was now, man, but it was somebody officially retires from such and such or whatever, and it's all like, yeah, man, it's about 4 years after the league made that decision for you there, but it's the same thing, man. Tommy Dreamer's canceled. Tommy Dreamer's been useless for a hot minute, man. Nobody cares.
So, but that, even in the Chris Canyon episode, there was a little bit of more Rick showing back up, and this is the stuff that it really got dark towards the end when and it's more the stuff with dealing with Chris that I just did not remember at all, where there was it's not even fair to really call it a storyline, because they pretty much just brought him back just to straight up bury him, where there was an injury that he had to get, I guess it was some type of surgery, and coming back in the middle of something with the Undertaker, they have him come out of a box singing "Do You Really Want the Culture Club? Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" song, and Undertaker just straight up beats the crap out of him. And it was one of those kind of things like, it had to been during one of my sabbaticals when I just didn't see it, because I think I would have remembered that, or maybe I just would have forced it out of my memory just because it was so god awful. And I was like, when did this happen? And needless to say, not long after that, he's not with the company anymore. And I don't know I don't recall. I'm pretty certain that it was a few months after that he comes out, and then he's on Stern, basically kind of spinning the idea because he had put the idea out there that he was let go because of his orientation, and a few weeks before he's on Stern, John Cena's on Stern. He's getting his response to Chris Canyon's allegations, and they're towing that company line. Good buddy John. I guess this might have been like 2003 or 4ish, and he's like, well, he just wasn't good enough. He just wasn't good enough, and they have Chris Canyon on the Stern show, and it's Ric Flair calls in to, rake him over the coals for not being good enough, and it's and it's more Rick towing the company line too. But the look on Canyon's face, it just tells all you need to know is like, man, this is not good. This is just it was tough to watch. It was tough, and I don't believe anything that Rick was saying as far as how he was in the ring, because it's not that. Even though I don't think he was as innovative as him and the Young Bucks tell me he was, he's not somebody that you could say, well, you're just no good. That's not the case. But it was just one of those kind of things that it was tough. It was tough to get through at the
end. That's we've talked about it before. Just even with just the name of the show, it's like you're gonna have to keep the show. The show is gonna have to get subatomic. That you can't just. Excuse me. I just don't know where else you go. I don't know what else you do, man. But it seems to me that we're out of ideas if we're already cycling back around to be like, well, misogyny's wrong and homophobia is wrong, and it's like, well, those are today topics. That stuff going on, are you're already out of stuff? I guess they are, because I don't know what you would possibly do about, like you said, unless you want to do an expose on what a fucking shill John Cena is. Well, most people don't care about that. Michael Jordan is still a fucking national treasure to a lot of people, and that's the biggest fucking corporate shill I've ever seen in my life, in any walk of life, and people worship his ass. So it's like, okay, people obviously don't care about that. So the John Cena episode is out. No one cares.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of the feeling I got with this last episode. But they had the Onita and F&W episode, which was more fun just because it was a lot of stuff that I didn't know a whole lot about, and it was one of those episodes where they had Onita there to tell his side of the story, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I believe you. And then you had the Mick Foley there to do the Mick Foley thing, but I like that guy. And then you had Terry Funk to be like, well, I don't.
That sushi indeed is a crazy piece of shit. Came down to Amarillo and stole my horse. I ain't got no time for that piece of shit. Fuck that guy. Punch him right in his dick with my left hand.
And even when Terry shows up, I don't think there's it's really as pointed as they try to make it sound. I think he's just kind of breaking balls with some of the stuff he says about him. But it's always like right after Mick is on there saying something like, oh, the innovation of Onita and all the stuff he brought to the sport, and he did all this, that, and other thing. And then they cut right to Terry like, no, he wasn't. No, he didn't.
I don't think he's got no place in my profession.
my bun.
Yeah, it's Terry Funk on that sushi Onita.
And but it was still just another one of those episodes, just kind of like, man, this is just another one of like, man, I just didn't really be feeling all good inside. But then this past week's episode, it just felt like, talk about being out of ideas. Is they did an episode on Johnny K9, who I had heard mentioned through listening to Cornette's podcast, and after sitting through the episode, I was like, why did you waste our time with this bullshit? Yeah. Is the long and short of it, just because It was this guy that worked as a job guy early on, WWF, ends up being connected with a Cornette in Smoky Mountain, and everybody shows up and tells their stories about him. There's Lance Storm shows up, and Jericho's there, but everybody's like, some of the stuff this guy ends up getting accused of, as far as where he's from, is just like this hardcore, gangster. It wasn't the Hell's Angels, but it was like Satan's Choice or whatever. Satan's Choice.
Satan's Alley.
Everybody's favorite coffee.
That's
Or
right.
whatever the gang was, and ends up doing time for this stuff. That's like, why am I supposed to care about this guy? I still don't get it. I'm like, why did y'all waste my time with this horse shit? Is the feeling I was left with after that episode. I was like, no thanks.
Saw a picture of Cornette with some guy I'd never seen before, and it was all like, yeah, Johnny K9, Dark Side of the Ring. And I'm like, cool, I can skip this one. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I love when people discuss wrestling, but I've said it the entire time, and I'll stand by it. When you call your fucking show Dark Side of the Ring, I know everybody thinks that every wrestler that's ever put on tights since 1964 has died some tragic death, but there's really not that many stories. Not ones people give a shit about anyway. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think it would be a lot cooler. I would love, actually. Man, have people talk about like shit everyone knows. Have people talk about like angles and matches and things that. But I guess that's the whole point, is that it's not actually wrestling that people like. It's the reason I say it all the time, and I will stand by it. When people just get all freaking, glassy eyed over the Attitude Era, I'm like, what are your 5 favorite matches? And nobody has ever given me an answer on that. And I'm like, I know you don't know, because the matches sucked. They were not good. They weren't good. Oh no, Stone Cold Steve Austin had a lot of really good matches when he was stunning. Stone Cold Steve Austin had one real good match, and everybody knows which one I'm talking about. Everyone knows. And it's because of who the fuck he was in the ring with.
Yeah.
Bret Hart could have a good match with me. I mean, it's just like, come on, man. Anyway, I hate stuff like that, and I get that is, but it's the biggest era ever. Yeah, you're right, because Vince McMahon telling you that entertainment is more important than wrestling. He's right from a dollars and cents money making standpoint. He's 100% correct, man. But I guess the reason this is on my mind is people are doing this huge thing now where it's all, I can't wait till AEW does a stadium show and they have like 70,000 people there. And I just think that's unrealistic as shit. I just do, man, because AEW is a wrestling company and they're doing awesome as a wrestling company for wrestling companies. But WWE does that 70,000 thing once a year, and they do it because they are not a wrestling company. They're entertainment. And I mean, that you have people, you have like NFL people that'll promote for WWE. You just do. So it's like, it's just a totally different thing, man. But I don't know. I hate the idea of, well, AEW, they're going to run an NFL stadium, which they could. I mean, they've got access to one, but I just think it's a terrible idea, because if you don't fill it up, you're a failure. And that's bullshit. I mean, not having 70,000 people watching a wrestling event, man, how many people work there? How many people are making their living and paying their bills because they work for AEW? Dude, that's a success. But I hate the constant boom, 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 boom. It's like, that's terrible, man. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, man.
And I guess that's why I'm frustrated, because I keep hearing that stuff, and I'm like, I guess I just think that anybody that likes AEW, it's like, man, enjoy this shit. This is great, man, but don't constantly keep moving the damn bar up, because eventually you're going to find a place you can't get to, and then it'll be like, oh, I told you the whole time it was just a flash in the pan, and it's like, oh my god, oh god.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else I was going to say about that. Anyway, I guess what it was, I think it was the video of I don't know, because I don't have my cable on anymore, man. But apparently, Adam Cole and the Bucks had like a 6-man like last week or something like that, and it was a video of the entrance. And what's cool about it is that he's got his timing, or they've changed the song or something like that, man. But the boom, it's not that the boom is back in it, but he's got the one on the apron that he can get now, and it looks really, really cool. But when he got in the ring and hit Adam Cole, baby, it was loud as shit. It was very impressive, and that was the whole thing. Well, I can't wait till 70,000 people are doing that. And I'm like, I just hope that the majority of people are just enjoying this for what it is, man. Because if you think, again, if you want it to be WWE, what the fuck are you watching it for?
Yeah.
It's so cool because it's not that. That's what's neat about it, is it's something else. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, speaking of the connection to Big Ass Stadium, have you heard some of the Jacksonville Jaguars news?
Not really. I know that they're having an awful time this year. That's about the only thing I know for sure.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
so, Urban Meyer's been uh, in a lot of trouble this week, and what's happened is it's kind of funny because I kind of expected Tony Kornheiser to begin his show with an apology this last week, and maybe he did on PTI, maybe he didn't, but it didn't happen on the podcast because he was one of the ones that's defending Urban Meyer because after last week's game, Urban doesn't fly home with the team. They're 0-4,
Hmm.
and instead of flying home with the team from Cincinnati, he decides, hey, I've got a bar here in town. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to, just have me knock back a few. And so that looks bad enough as it is.
Better go have me a pity drunk.
Yeah. And
Hometown pity drunk.
and when I say Tony Kornheiser opening with the apologies, is because he was defending his good buddy Urban Meyer. Because the first video that came out of Urban getting his lap dance from this chick it looked like Urban was protecting himself, had his hand over his crotch, like, and you know, I'm a married man. Well, ma'am, thank you, but no, thank you. And
I said
Tony,
no.
I said no.
I
I said
said
no, don't do that. And so then unfortunately the second video came out. No, because
just the one where he doesn't have pants.
so, so Tony Coldhunter was defending Urban like he was at his bar, it's establishment he owns, this, that, and the other thing. He's protecting himself. That's great. You should have held that take till you saw the second video that comes out when it looks like Urban is balling. I'll let your imagination go wherever you choose this young lady. And so basically, everybody's opinion is much like mine. Is Urban's trying to get fired because the job in USC is rumored to be coming up soon. That's the job he wants. And the Cons had made some statement earlier this week about how, well, he's got to regain our trust. It's 4 games in his career, and you're like, oh, he's got to re-earn our trust. Just find a clause that says conduct unbecoming that you dumbass it put in there that you can just fire his ass over. It's what he wants you to do. It's what you want to do. Why can't everybody just agree to like, this ain't gonna work? It wasn't gonna work the second he called his good buddy Tim.
I completely
That was,
agree. I get that.
writing was on the wall.
I get there's no such thing as bad publicity and all that bullshit. But yeah, as soon as he turned your team into a goddamn circus sideshow by bringing that unathletic piece of shit into camp and giving him an 85 shirt, and that's the whole thing. It lasted 1 week, and it's like, that's a week too long. But man, whatever, man. Urban's fucking ridiculous, man. The guy's been ridiculous forever. Nobody care. And you're right. He's just completely in over his head. He wanted those NFL paychecks. And also, most college coaches that go to the NFL will tell you not having to recruit is the greatest fucking thing in the whole wide world. It's like, oh my God, I get my summers off now. They love that shit. But man, whatever, dude. Whatever. And
I've heard opinions from some guys that have done both, and I want to say it might have been Mora Jr. that was on some show, and he was just talking about, man, I'd much rather deal with moms and dads than wives and girlfriends. That's
Yeah,
why I prefer the college game.
I can dig it. I can understand that part. For the most part, people, and yes, this is a shot at Nick Saban, but it's true. Most people
Nicholas.
that prefer the college game, well, they have a daddy complex. They want to be,
Love getting that ass kissed
I'm
all
the
over
guy.
town.
The buck stops here. I'm the man. You listen to me because you're a kid. I'm a grown up. That's the bullshit that they have. And a lot of times when guys like Saban rolled up into Miami, he's got this little tough guy dictator. Give me a little Debbie, and you do what I say. And the guys on the Dolphins team are like, motherfucker, I make 3 times what you make. Who the fuck you think
Yeah.
you are? That's literally what happened to him. So he
hmm
tucked his fucking tail and went
But
back to
that
college.
the only power you have as a head coach is setting the schedule, which I may or may not abide by.
It's the truth. It's the truth, man. It's like, nah, you have to. If your ego is what rules the day, and with Urban Meyer, I believe it is, you have to stay in college. Like I said, there's a reason Nick went back. There's a reason Pete Carroll never had to go back because Pete actually gets it. Jimmy
Mhm.
Johnson actually got it, and it's just all like that's cool. But yeah, I would much rather deal with mom and dad than wives and girlfriends because the wives and the girlfriends, by association, they make more than I do too, and they have
Yeah.
no problem looking me dead in my face and telling me go fuck myself, and I don't like that. I'm Nick
Mhm.
Saban. I'm a national treasure. How dare you? And that's totally. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
man. If you're ruled by your ego, go get you a job at ESPN, and that's why Kornheiser's so defensive because Urban worked for them for a little bit. So, God
Yeah.
forbid. Oh, whatever will we do? It's like it's ridiculous. My God. But yeah, I'm looking forward to them firing Urban, and I think that they should make. God, I forgot his freaking name. I'm sorry, man. Don Callis should be the head coach of the
Oh
Jaguars.
yeah.
Don Callis and Jim Ross should be the head coach. Should be the coordinators. That'd
Yeah.
be great,
Yeah.
man.
That'd work.
The Jaguars.
Art Anderson's already has his playbook thing that y'all
He's,
took from.
he got his playbook and his freaking Glock apparently. That's so stupid. I'm like, people are freaking out about how great that promo was. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This was stupid as shit, man.
Yeah. That was
What the hell, man?
not good.
For real,
Not
man.
good.
Good God, y'all. Anyway, let me get sidetracked on that.
Mhm.
But I feel bad for the cons because it just, you know me, I think the NFL's all rigged anyway. And it's just like
Mhm.
Vince wanted a team for so long. And now you still wound up with this carny bullshit wrestling crap in the NFL. And I'm like, fuck you, man. Your team is going to suck forever. So you can fire Urban if you want to. You might want to sell the damn team.
The long and short of it is, I mean, you got the number one pick for a reason. They've
Hmm?
been straight trash for a minute, and I guess a coach is going to turn it around.
You
And
say so.
the number one draft pick, it takes more than that.
It
They still
sure as
suck.
shit does. I ain't give a good goddamn. But they got Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody give a good. Nobody fucking care, man. You got to be kidding me. And you knew they
He's
were
not
going to be
Bugs
crap.
Bunny. He's not going to throw
Everybody,
and catch his own passes.
dude, everybody knew they were going to be crap. Everyone knew they were going to be garbage, man. Because Jacksonville, you can look at the roster and tell they're in trouble.
Mhm.
Excuse me. The other teams, you knew Jacksonville was going to be bad. You knew Houston was going to be bad. And because the sun came up yesterday, and it will again in a handful of hours, you know the Jets are going to be bad because of the fucking
Yes.
Jets, and then the Lions, Jets and the Lions. And I hate it because I would love if Detroit was better, but holy shit, man, it's just how the fuck are you this bad for this long? Even the Jets have an excuse. They won a Super Bowl and they haven't been in the NFL forever. The Detroit Lions, I believe, have existed longer than the NFL itself. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what is going on, man?
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
got sidetracked. But yeah, I think Urban's a piece of shit. I always have. And that includes his time in Columbus. And I love Ohio State, but I never had any fucking time for that guy. I think he sucks. And it's like, yeah, Urban's got a bar and he's going and hitting on co-eds. That doesn't surprise me at all. That's
Yeah.
fine. I had a breakdown because, I had to leave Florida because, my health and my wife.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You knew that Columbus job was opening up, and it wouldn't surprise me if he tried to get back there too, man. But that's what I was going to say about USC is that something in the Fox family makes sense. Pac-12, Big Ten, sure, why not? Whatever, man. Whatever. It's fine.
So that was, apparently it just, the story just didn't seem to be quite making sense, where there was this much of a fuss being made over this initial video, then the second one drops, like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, pack your shit.
Bye. There's the door, prick. Go.
Yeah, man. Just got here.
You will not be missed, sir. Maybe I can go back to Gainesville. They still worship me there, right? Oh no, I suck again.
Oh crap. So, man, I haven't. I didn't watch the fight. I won't watch the fight, but I heard nothing but praise about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Is supposed to be the greatest heavyweight fight in the history of all time. I think it's just the greatest when it's been that long since everybody's seen a good one. Everybody was like praising it.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me, man. If Tyson Fury's involved, I'm out. He's just a jackleg fucking. Who gives a shit? I don't fucking care. I hate heavyweight boxing anyway, man, because all the skills in the smaller guys. The big dudes just slug each other, and it's great. And if you want to see a fucking barroom brawl, it's fine, but I don't give a fuck about either one of those guys. Tyson Fury, you couldn't pay me to watch that piece of shit fight, so I'm like, what the fuck ever, man. I don't give a shit. I'm glad it's good for boxing. That's fantastic, but excuse me, the obsession with gambling, like we talked about, and live sports. Somebody was talking that shit the other day about Conor McGregor, and it's like, well, love him or hate him, he's done so much for the sport. Bullshit. All he's ever done is ride Ronda Rousey's coattails into the era where live sports became a thing. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. But ESPN, who gives a shit? Dude, he's a little jackass, shit-talking white boy who has lost 4 of his last 5 fights, and that's my issue with him. Going up and pretending you're Floyd Mayweather and talking a bunch of bullshit, okay, because you don't want to give Floyd credit for that, even though he is goddamn PhD in shit talking and making people want to watch him get beat up. McGregor tries to do that, but more people love him than hate him. But he just fucking sucks at his job. He's just bad at it. And also, I'm ill at him now, and this is just secondhand, but I hate that his bullshit has permeated WWE. Because again, like I said, Vince McMahon has seen him in person. He will never hire that guy because it's like there's still people that are like, no man, Brock Lesnar versus Conor McGregor would be the biggest thing ever. I'm like, yeah, right up until you see them stand next to each other, man. He is not as tall as fucking. If he comes up to Brock's thigh, you'll be lucky. Yeah, you have absolutely no idea how small this guy is. You cannot believe it. Whoa, but yeah, because everyone else he's fighting is 5'4" too. There's nobody in there that compares to who you would put him in the ring with. It's like you don't want to see this. But that
Lesnar Mysterio was more entertaining than that would ever be.
Yeah, because Rey Mysterio is actually good. He knows what the fuck he's doing, but it's like, y'all, it's not what it would not be what you think it would be. But I guess that's my biggest problem with him is twofold. One, again, he owes everything in his fucking life to Ronda Rousey. And yes, that includes the Mayweather paycheck because she started talking that shit and then he jumped in. And I hate that guy because he's overrated as shit. He always has been. And as far as a guy talking him in because, well, you want to see him get beat, right? I have never paid 1 red cent for a Conor McGregor fight and I never will. And then when you go on YouTube or Daily Motion and you can watch them for free, still haven't ever seen one because I don't give a fuck. Who gives a shit? But that's my problem is that when Mayweather talks all that shit, he always winds up with his hand raised and it drives people nuts. McGregor loses all the fucking time. All the time. Even the big fights that he's won, he never has a rematch with anybody. He never puts the belt on the line. So what the fuck do I care? Oh, man, he's undefeated 2-division champion. He's never defended the fucking thing, man. It's really, really easy to be undefeated when you have no fights. I'm an undefeated UFC fighter, man. You want to know why? Because I've never done it. Yeah. Fantastic.
Must be the great.
Anyway, WWE's plan now to just bypass him and turn Becky Lynch into him is just ridiculous. That is so annoying. It's more of the same where I didn't like the man bullshit anyway. I never liked that stuff. I guess I liked Becky so much before this that I hate what they've got her doing now. And it's like, this is pathetic, man. I hate that stuff. And it's frustrating because, again, that's all secondhand. I haven't watched that shit in years, but just hearing about it, there's still people there that I like, and I hate that they've got them doing such dumb stuff, man. So it's all like, oh, Becky, you're from Ireland. Go out there and be Conor McGregor. It's like, oh, God, that's awful.
Really rank up the yorty.
That's what I've heard, is that they are just ramping up the fucking brogue, and I'm like, yeah. All right, whatever.
Yep.
That's some frustrating shit.
So, man, after that fight, I mean, it was news that came out before that, but would you be interested in a re-release of Rocky IV coming back to the big screen? Before you answer, there's 40 extra minutes that nobody's ever seen before that wasn't on any DVD, any Blu-ray release, and it makes me wonder, why this one? Why Rocky IV? Why that one?
If the 40 extra minutes are the complete James Brown concert that predated him playing Apollo onto the stage, I'd be in. I love Rocky IV because the Rocky IV soundtrack is the greatest thing that's ever happened. So that's it. If I'm sitting in the theater and when the movie is over, the extra 40 minutes is you just playing the soundtrack, I'm in.
Man, if they could get James Brown performing with the robot,
yeah,
Milo Ventimiglia's robot birthday present, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I can totally get down to James Brown and the robot doing a duet on "Happy Birthday, Polly." That would totally be cool.
And that was some of that news that came out. I was just like, it was up there with Johnny K9. I was like, why?
Why are we doing this? Who gives a shit, man? The extra 40 minutes for Polly trying to have sex with the robot.
Yeah.
Who am I supposed to put my wiener in this thing? Who wouldn't want to see that?
No, Johnny Five is not that alive.
Johnny Five is not alive like that. You gross old man.
I mean, I could just look through the Laserdisc era, the DVD era, the Blu-ray era, slides, and the whole time I'm gonna make them wait.
Fighting my time.
It's not the right time, man.
Yeah, for real, man.
Big man, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I'm a great promoter.
2 decades after the fact, he picks up the phone and calls somebody at MGM or whoever owns the rights to Rocky IV, and all he says is, "Go for it." And they know what that means. It's code for release the extra 40 minutes of Rocky IV.
I mean, when it comes to the Rocky movies, it's like it was getting to that point around Rocky IV. It's kind of like, man, how many times are we going to sit through this? But it's still, everybody goes crazy for Rocky III, but man, Rocky IV was my jam. I liked it a lot, but I don't need 40 extra minutes of it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. That's why I'm going with James Brown. If you give me extra James, I can get in there. But movies, my movie's great the way it is. I love Rocky IV. I'm with you. Like, Rocky is like Friday the 13th, where the first ones just have those be standalones, man, because they're real, real good. Rocky 2 never did it for me because you're just trying to remake Rocky 1. But what if Rocky wins this time? It's way, way cooler. The first one is way cooler. Superhero Rocky in Part 3, yeah, it's cool. It's all good, man. But the reason people lost their minds is because Mr. T is in it and Eye of the Tiger's on the soundtrack. But Eye of the Tiger is also on the soundtrack to Rocky 4, and I'm with you. That one's... God, if Rocky IV was nothing but the soundtrack, I'd be set. That shit is awesome. Just listen to it. It is... Man, if you ever need like a nostalgia bomb for what 80s movies and music should be, that's it. It's the best thing ever, man. Yes. I don't think I've seen any since then. I didn't see 5, and I didn't see Apollo Creed, or I don't think I've seen any of them since then, man.
Oh, man, I remember. I think Rocky Balboa was one of those Christmas movies that I went and checked out, and man, it was interesting. It was really neat, in that the Rocky Mason Dixon, when it gets to that match, it's almost like a HBO pay-per-view, the way it takes over, and that part of it was neat. But there was just so much that they did with the movie. I was just like, man, I just feel like this is just raking everybody over the coals
Yeah.
a little bit too much. But at the same time, it was a Rocky movie, so I kind of dug it.
I was mad at him. I never watched Rocky Balboa because it was stupid, but I was mad at him for not cutting Talia Shire a check. That's just sorry, man. That's just like, man, seriously, you're gonna kill Adrian because you don't want to pay her any damn. Get the fuck out of here, man. It was like, it reminded me of,
Exactly what happened.
yeah, it reminded me of Godfather 3, where okay, like you literally you wrote Tom Hagen out of the fucking script. It's the best character in the whole series, but
Yeah.
you wrote him out because the story that I always heard was that when the studio got in touch with Robert Duvall, and they're like, "We're doing The Godfather 3," and he's like, "Cool, what's Pacino getting?" And they're like, and he's like, "No, tell me, what's Al getting?" And they're like, "Well, why do you need to know that?" And he's like, "Dude, if we're doing this fucking cash grab, I'm getting as much as I can,
Yeah.
and I want as much as everybody's getting. So what's Al getting?" So they wrote him out instead of paying him. It's like, fine, whatever, man. Movie would have sucked anyhow. Unfortunately, that movie probably still would have sucked even if Winona Ryder had gotten the part that she was supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. But that reminded me of that. So like Talia got her money for Godfather 3, but it was all like, well, okay, we're doing Rocky again. We're going to, we're gonna milk that cash cow. I want as much as I can get. And they wrote her. Hey, screw you guys, man. Adrian's
Yeah.
cool, and if you don't have her in there, it's not the same.
Tom, can you get me out of this? Sorry, Casey, it's just business.
Dude, seriously, man.
uh, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. I swear there's something else I was supposed to talk about. I don't know what the hell it was, but I can tell you. We mentioned earlier the the woes of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been doing the thing, man, with the TV turned off, where basically Sundays at about 4 or 5, I'll just hit YouTube and do the NFL produced highlight reels. It's great. It's too much. It's too much fun. I'm like, man, I'm really digging this. This is awesome, dude. So I think I don't know if I can stand by this or not, but I think that as far as like superstar, can't miss, got to see this guy play. I think Kyler Murray might be my favorite player in the NFL, man. Every time Cardinals highlights come up, I'm like, man, I love this kid. Him or Russell Wilson, I'm inappropriately biased towards because he's an NC State guy. Oh, he went to Wisconsin. No, he did graduate school in Wisconsin. That was 1 year, and that's fine. I like Wisconsin. But he's an NC State boy. He played there for 3 years, man. And I love him. And it's Seattle, and I like pulling for them anyway. But man, as far as just like, I love Lamar Jackson because I loved him at Louisville. He's the man. Um, Aaron Rodgers is a lot of fun to watch. I think Brady is like paint drying. Tom Brady's the most boring fucking player I've ever seen in my life, man. He does not do it for me. But as far as the exciting quarterbacks and all that, I get why people like Mahomes so much. I'm not trying to diss Patrick Mahomes. It's just to say that one of my things about Patrick Mahomes, man, is that of all these guys we're naming, including Brady, and Brady is absolutely loaded on the weapons front, but ain't none of these guys got the arsenal of people to throw to that Mahomes does. I like Patrick. He's a good player, but shit, that offense is insane, and the coordinator is once he can do it without Eric Bieniemy, okay, that's cool. But Bieniemy's a big deal, man. Anyhow, sorry to get sidetracked on that, but it's just always like, well, it's quarterbacks league. You got to watch for quarterbacks. Lottie dime. Okay, cool. That's what I'll do, and I'll see who I like, and it'll be fun. I like Derek Carr in Las Vegas because I like the Raiders, but I swear to God, man, Kyler Murray's the one that I just find myself really impressed with every time I watch him. Like, shit, this kid is awesome. He makes me think of Pedro Martinez because he looks way too small to be able to throw the ball as hard as he does, and it's like,
Yeah.
God, I'm impressed every time, man. But it was fun. It was a fun weekend, fun NFL weekend, and I guess that's it. I've been a horrible AEW fan 'cause again, I don't have cable, but I haven't done darker elevation. I need to. Those are cool. They get cool people on there, man. Oh, on the subject of AEW, good news, and in my opinion, better news. Inbox art for the new action figure series is coming out. It's the Lance Archer and Nia Jax and the Young Bucks and FTR. And FTR was, I was super concerned with the art about Dax's boots because I'm like, what the hell's he got those kick pads on? He's never worn those, and it's not like that. It's got laces. It's very cool. That's the upside. The downside is, like we talked about with the drawings, it's like they didn't like either one of those guys. Well, Cash looks pretty good. Dax looks nothing like him, but that's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
At least they're doing them. The Young Bucks are much better than I thought they were going to be. They are really good. I mean, all the Nick Jacksons are good, but the Matt, I'm like, all right then. Okay, good for y'all. And the jackets are cool as hell. So I'm like, oh, this is nice, man. These are cool. Lance Archer, I'm going to suggest that everybody waits for whatever B to come out because again, he's too pale. He looks cool. He's just too pale. But Nyla Rose is the baddest one in that set. That shit looks just like her, and I'm like, excellent work. Good job, y'all. Because the cartoon, the drawing, everybody went shit crazy over, and it's like, let's wait and see what it looks like in plastic. It looks good as hell, man.
Cool.
But that's the good news. And the even better news is that with my toy jaunt in Cincinnati, I think I have seen not every, but probably 80% of the AEW figures. I've had them in my hand, I've looked at them, and I've assessed whether or not I should buy them. And the answer always comes back no. And this is great news for me because it's saving me a crap ton of money, man. And I'm like, it's stupid, but it was just like seeing them, having them in my hand, including Omega, which I didn't find the Kenny Omega. I found the last one they put out, but I don't have to have it. And I'm like, it just made me feel I was a lot happier to not have to buy any of these, man. It's stupid, but made me feel good. I felt like I was off the hook, man.
Cool, man.
Hell yeah.
All right, man.
That'll do it. Y'all, thank you for watching.
Heck yeah, man.
You, brother.
See
Take care
y'all.
now.
All right. Bye.